Hello, everyone. Welcome to the C.E.S. Connect podcast, where we will reach through the air by navigating agility, maximizing impact, and embracing relevance. I am so happy to have you all with us today. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Mr. Luke Forshaw, the Director of Professional Development Services here at C.E.S. Welcome.
Happy to be with you. Thank you.
Okay, Luke, so I don't know if you know how this goes. There's going to be a series of different questions, some things about you, the fun Luke, some things about you, the professional Luke. Then we are going to talk about important things, and then we'll go on to some hat items, and then rapid fire at the end.
Let's see how I do.
Okay, all right, friends. Okay. So, as we know, Luke is new to this, but you guys know topic one is all about Luke. So question one, please tell us about your background and about who you are.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, and I'm thrilled to see all the hat options, see where that goes. So my name is Luke Forshaw. I'm the Director of Professional Development Services here at C.E.S. I'm a father, very proud father of 2 kids. My daughter Grace is 7, my son Reed is 2. Proud husband, my wife Michaela does not work in education, but we have lots to talk about otherwise. Prior to coming to CES, I've been a teacher and school leader for 20 years in Connecticut. Elementary school background, worked in instructional technology support for a while, and then was a school principal for 10 or so years.
Really?
Yeah, and I continue to teach, so I adjunct still and teach grad classes at University St. Joseph.
See, I really enjoy not only being your host, everyone, but just having these opportunities where I get to learn more about my colleagues as well. So those are many things I did not know, Luke. Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Okay, now question 2 is, and you know, this is a good thing,
okay.
But you are the newest member of our leadership team. So what did you do specifically right before joining us at CES?
So right before I joined you at CES, I was the principal of Oxbridge Elementary School in Darien, Connecticut, which was a great school, fabulous teachers. We were really fortunate to welcome kids from across the system that had more complex special education needs. We had a preschool on site, so just really fortunate in the last job.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, I'm sorry we took you from that, especially if it was rewarding, but we are so happy to have you. So what are you enjoying most about your position now that you're here at CES?
The most enjoyable, aside from the people, because everyone here has been terrific and really kind and supportive, the work itself has been really engaging. It's been an opportunity to work with all the different systems in our region, serve the different varied needs, and to watch kind of what's similar and where we might have to customize here or there. But it's really having the opportunity now to work with the 17 partner systems in our region.
Excellent. Now, question 3 would be that you did some pretty amazing things at a previous job. In fact, I think you helped build the school?
Yes, yeah.
How? Where? When?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I was the principal of an elementary school prior to joining, and I was in the community of Darien, Connecticut, which had the great fortune of having a very supportive town and a very supportive financial team, and so they were in the position to be able to help us build a new school. So I was part of a building committee, and had this great opportunity to kind of like from scratch design, develop, and bring to fruition an elementary school. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Was that stressful though?
For me, not really. I think just helping people navigate the stress of change. I tend to like new things and the opportunity that it affords. So it was more interesting and engaging, and it's work for sure, but the outcome was so great that it was all worth it.
Wow, I can't imagine that. I know that I was fortunate enough 29 years ago to interview for a role here at CES in a different location, and then was here when we moved to the 25 Oakview Drive. But certainly that building existed, and I had no contribution to design. So we are very fortunate to have such a creative mind overall as yourself.
Well, that's kind of you. And I know that it's very exciting here at CES as we're working on 40 Oakview. So that's
yes, that's more to come on that. I think we'll have our own special episode on the new building. But okay, we're going to go on to topic 2. Luke, the Director of Professional Development Services. Yeah. Okay. Professional development, what is it, and do we need it?
The second part of that question depends on who you ask. I think the first part, jokes aside, is we're all learning. And if you're not learning in this field, I don't know if you're doing the best you can for yourself and certainly for your students and the families that you serve. So for me, it's really just helping systems in schools or teachers or classrooms, whatever level I'm working at, think of themselves as a learning organization, a learning person. And so professional development really is the process by which people are thinking creatively, coming up with new solutions, integrating new research and evidence into their practice. So if you view it from that perspective, it should be something that you have agency and choice around, not something done to you. That is not always the optimal condition in our field.
That is true.
Sometimes we feel that we are mandate heavy and agency light. And so, yeah, part of the work here that's really exciting is being able to kind of help whatever level I'm working at, whether it's a teacher, administrator, or system, kind of like think through the process of growth and change. So I think I might have answered both in that.
Yes, okay. Excellent. I agree. I think that, you hear the term lifelong learner, but at the same point, hopefully when we each wake each day, we would like to learn something we didn't know before, whether that's personally or professionally. And I'm very blessed to say that CES has always offered that here, and it's been even more exciting since you've joined us. So thank you very much.
Yeah, pleasure.
Okay, topic number 1, talk about some of the services we offer and to whom we offer those services of professional development.
It's another great question. There's a wide range. So the reality is that we are here to serve. And so whether that's like I mentioned, for a teacher, for administrator, or for a school or for a district, we'll customize the offerings that we provide. So we do a number of sort of like regional training. We've been doing a lot of work right now with the Professional Development Evaluation Committee requirements. A lot has been going on across the state with right to read legislation and supporting teachers and districts and improving their practices in literacy. I'm so fortunate to be partnering with your team on the special education side, doing some work with inclusive practice and school culture, school climate. I'm naming off a number of topics, and so like that's not an exhaustive list. I'm just trying to indicate that we basically can work closely with schools, partners on what they need, and we'll customize for them. Districts are at times sending folks to us. We're really happy to welcome them to the spaces that we have here at CES. We're in one of them right now. You can't see at home, but like we're inside of our room 4 conference room. So we are always happy to have folks come here and do learning or to welcome teams. And then we're happy to join at whatever level a school would like us to participate. So whether that's at a professional learning conversation or coaching cycles or working in the central office. So the answer is however we can and however is most helpful to the districts that we serve.
And we thank you for that. It must be exhausting, though. Just the idea of being able to always stay 2 steps ahead of what people might need and being able to offer that. And then at the same time being ready for whatever else they may need as soon as they've crossed that bridge. Yep. So I don't know how you do it.
Well, you're a teacher, you're a leader. All of our teachers and all of our leaders, this is what you do every day. So if you think about it like a classroom, or you think about it in terms of your own students, you're constantly in this sort of anticipatory mindset. What are we going to be ready for next? How can I best kind of like meet that, close those gaps? In our field, I think one of the challenges is that we're responding a lot. So a lot of what teachers and leaders want to do and pursue is admirable and worthwhile. And we also have to make sure that we're responding to new regulations, new laws, new practices in the field. So that part can be challenging in helping people make sense of those requirements and do it in a way where they still feel positive and productive in the direction that they're moving. But I wouldn't say it's exhausting.
Okay. Now, though, this might exhaust you talking about this one. Teacher shortage, specifically science and math teacher shortage. How is that impacting your role? What do you see is most necessary?
I don't know a ton about the science and math components of shortages, but we are in a period of time where we have to shift our thinking in education. And the magic words now, the 2 R's, are recruitment and retention. They're front and center now in our work. And so professional learning to me and the services that we can provide, we think about how do you support leaders in developing cultures that teachers and leaders want to stay in. That's the retention side. It's critical. We do work with our partners at the State Department of Education in recruitment, specifically trying to work hard to recruit individuals of color to the field. We work on a grant related to increasing educator diversity. And those are strategies among a number that we'll participate in to try to bring new educators into the field, to try to develop people who are here in a way that they are feeling empowered and growth and positive over time. So those are the ways that we really want to shift and leverage professional learning to both help districts find and welcome new educators into the work, and to make sure that the educators they have already on their teams are feeling supported, heard, valued, and growing. There are shortages in specific areas: math, science, special education, our paraprofessional team members that we really value. And so, not to belabor all the different projects we're working on, but we are working on a number, actually, with your department. Really happy to do this work around professional growth, onboarding for paraprofessionals, for special educators in math, literacy. So those are sort of the strategies that we're putting in place and pursuing to address the reality, which is, unfortunately, not as many people as should are coming into our field. And those who are in the field are not necessarily feeling the care and value that they deserve to keep them in it.
Well, thank you for that, because I think that when people know that they're joining an organization in whatever area they are, but that they are going to be supported to continue deepening and enriching their own learning, so then they can manifest that in being the best professional they can be. I just think that's crucial. I know just in the special ed division, as a leader, when I'm meeting new staff and I'm telling them about the magical things we do in our program and how wonderful our students are and how we get to be this creative, unique place, one of the things I always tell them is how much professional development that we do provide, because I do know that most of us just want to keep learning so we can keep growing, so we can keep helping others.
Well said. Yeah.
Okay, so the new state curriculum, what can you tell me about that?
Which one? So it's interesting.
Well, I don't know anything about any of them, Luke, so you can pick.
Okay, so I think probably the most present of mind one has to do with right to read legislation. Yeah, I'm sure. Have you heard a little bit about it?
A little.
A little bit. So what's happening in the state of Connecticut is that there has been an emphasis on ensuring that districts are using evidence-based practices in literacy. And it's a change. Connecticut is the land of local control and steady habits. And districts, there's whatever there are, about 169 local school districts, and a number of special education ones and USD1 and so on, have had a lot of autonomy in selecting the materials that they want to use and employing the kind of curricular approaches that they'd like. And it's been a couple years now that the state has been trying to do more work to educate folks around the science of reading, evidence-based practices. So that's one in terms of like state required curriculum. The state is also pursuing what they're calling model curricula. I know, exciting. So if you look in the area of science, if you look in the area of computer science, math, there's a number of these model curricula that are being developed and distributed across the state. We partner regularly through our councils. One of the nice features that we offer here at C.E.S. through our professional development services is regularly occurring councils, so that educators in a given discipline can get together and think about some of those new and exciting opportunities collaboratively. They can kind of make sense of, well, we're ready for this, we're not ready for that. They can kind of pace out the implementation process and even challenge some of the conceptions that are being put in front of them to say, well, I know that this is the model, but here's another vantage point to consider. So I don't know if I answered your question entirely, but there's lots of moving parts.
No, you did. I was aware of some things and I learned even more, so I thank you for that. Yeah. So topic 4, what do you think is the biggest problem in education today? I know that's a very loaded question. So so maybe even just you, Luke, what do you think is the biggest problem in education?
I think it has to do more with the sense of well-being for educators more than anything. And there's 2 big buckets I put it into. One is I think educators in general have been under an incredible amount of stress, pressure, high expectations, high bar for a long time. The pandemic certainly sort of exacerbated those existing stresses and pressures. And as people were coming out of that, there wasn't really a natural sort of like resting period. We're not in that field. So one of the biggest challenges I think is, how do we continue to, wake up, stay in the fight, stay serving kids, stay growing, and do it in a way that you're caring for yourself, that we're not like sort of having this burnout curve for educators. I'm concerned with that. And I think fundamentally that educators and leaders have put so much on them and are responding to so much coming at them that I worry about that, right? So that's one, making sure that we have care in place and that we're treating ourselves the way we want to be treated. And the other, I think, is really fragmentation. And what I mean by that is, even in this brief conversation, we've talked about, I don't know, 10, 20 different topics.
Yes.
So to be a professional educator, and particularly in a state like Connecticut, where we have high expectations for teaching and learning, you're really swiveling. You're on a pivot between all of these different features. And I think great educators and great leaders want to do all these things well.
Yes.
So knowing how to navigate those different demands and knowing how to do it in a way where you're still caring for yourself and growing and giving yourself permission to, not be perfect in every single thing as you're moving it along, I think are some of the biggest challenges we face.
I couldn't agree with you more. I know that the quarantine and COVID and that time where we weren't able to be with students as we wanted to be was stressful just because we felt that we weren't serving students.
Right.
And then to come back into a different reality and have to hit the ground running, but so desperately wanting to do so, there comes a point where you have to make sure you have gas in the tank, right?
Yes.
And so I agree that I think people, that self-care is crucial, and I aspire to learn more myself, as most people might know about me, but I think that it goes back to, if nothing else, that people in the field of education just care so much. And you will end up accidentally self-sacrificing for those you care about. But if we are lucky to have folks like yourself always on that radar to help balance that, I want to say thank you.
My pleasure. And I want to say thank you, because you're exactly right in the sense of that you have to have that ability to channel that sense of care and urgency in the work that you're doing with kids, but over time be able to understand there's a limit in terms of what you're putting out in the field every day. I'd also just say one other piece, which is self-care is great. I'm all for it. Wonderful. However, I'm concerned that I don't want that to become another thing on a list for people.
Yes.
Right? So I think that one of the shifts I try to remind myself of, and we try to lead in this way in our department, across C.E.S, in the districts that I work with, is trying to shift to like sort of cultures of care. How do we develop and support one another? So it's not just okay, in addition to all the other things I have to do, I got to make sure I get to yoga or whatever, whatever the list of things are. I get my 8 hours of sleep. I think that can often make the person feel another sense of that they're not achieving individually. And one of the opportunities we have now is to lean on one another and to support one another, to make sure that we're checking in and we're setting goals with each other, that we're making that they're reasonable. And so yeah, just to keep expanding on that idea, I think it's got to be a collective effort to make sure that we're really making sure that the field is in a better place than it was 3-4 years ago.
And also, if you do need support and you do need help, it is good and okay to say that too. And I think it's important for us to also free ourselves from any issues with that, right? So it's important to know it's okay to need help. It's normal to need help, and that's why we're all here.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay, Luke. It's now a point in the podcast, which we have officially named Stacey's Hatmosphere. As most of you know, I bring 3 beloved items from my vast collection at home, and the items are usually chosen with great care and thought. So in fact, I first was thinking, when I said, ooh, it's time for Luke's podcast, what shall I bring? I decided my piece, which is a teapot and teacups, was necessary so I felt taller, as you are a very tall person. Luke, how tall are you? I have to know.
I'm 6'5".
Oh, okay.
And can I tell you, when you walked in with the teacup hat, which I love, by the way, I didn't know if it was a reference to like the Mad Hatter. I didn't know if it was sort of an indication of how you thought about me.
No, it was to make me feel slightly taller, as I am 5'2". So clearly there's a height difference there. But okay, so I just need to know how tall he was, guys. Thanks for going with me on that. But then I thought, we're not going to worry about height because I certainly don't have a fascinator that's going to make me anywhere near as tall as Luke. But I then said, let's reflect. And I looked up your name.
Yes.
And I wanted to know, were you aware that the origin of the name Luke means light giving?
I was. I know the Hebrew origin of that name, yes.
So I thought, well, that's beautiful. And so that really directed me to bring these 3 different items. Now, this is a little over the top. And for some of my friends out there who have seen it before, perhaps this Halloween season, we have the large flame hat.
Mm-hmm.
We also have what I think would look very light-giving, the smaller fascinator, which is kind of like the sun if you got really close to it. And then, of course, the smaller red piece that just says light fire. So these are the 3 pieces today. So I'm going to say, if you were going to pick one of them,
yes,
which one is speaking to you the most?
Honestly, the one that speaks to me the most, well, I want to just say something first. I'm so thankful that we started talking about hats when I first got here.
Okay.
Because you had to explain to me, and I don't know if you remember, if this is in August, we're chatting, we're getting to know one another. You said fascinator. I did not know what that was.
Oh.
So thank you, because
it's okay.
Now I feel like
if I do nothing else in this podcast, people, fascinators are our friends.
Fascinators are our friends. So I'm now aware that these are fascinators. So that actually works for me. The one I'm drawn to, believe it or not, and maybe it's because it's sort of like a big foam finger at a sporting event, I'm going with the flame helmet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is fitting because beyond the Hebrew definition, I also then looked up the Urban Dictionary definition, and Luke says that you first start with a base of hysterically funny.
Okay.
Mix in equal parts, and this is the dictionary, which is true, but cute.
Oh, thank you.
Charming, intelligent.
Wow.
And then you combine integrity, thoughtfulness, confidence, add some hysterically funny, and you get to an almost irresistible quantity of you, of Luke. Nice. And I have to say, I think that is spot on, friends.
That's very nice. I think like I should give credit to the person who wrote that. So thank you very much. I thought it was going to be way worse. I have to tell you. When you
it's spot on. When I read it, I said, well, then we have to share it with everyone. Okay. So, wow, you've almost made it through. We are now at rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Okay. So I'm going to do 5 rapid fire questions. You must answer with the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
All right. Try to stay honest to the whole vibe of it. Here we go.
Yes.
Rapid fire question number 1. What is your dream vacation?
The beach.
I love
the beach.
Friends, Stacey has a phobia of sand. So I am so glad that is your dream vacation. Yes. Okay, so dream vacation, beach?
Yes, I think it's supposed to be a place, right? But
I guess a beach is a place. Okay, let's get off that one. Rapid fire question 2. Why did you decide to become an educator?
I love teaching. I love watching people grow.
Okay. Rapid fire question number 3. Would you rather cook or bake?
Cook. I love to cook. My wife's a great baker, and I'm the cook in the house, and I love it.
Wow. Yeah. I don't do that either.
Really?
Wow.
Really?
Opposites here. Rapid fire question number 4. Do you have any collections?
This might date me, but I really don't like reading like long form on digital devices. So books,
okay. Yes.
Right. So,
all right. You have. Do you enjoy series?
No. It's again. I will totally own this. I'm terrible. I read pretty much exclusively nonfiction, historical. I know.
Okay. I know. That's all right.
I know.
We all balance each other out. Okay. And the last one.
Yes.
Finish the phrase. C.E.S. is my.
C.E.S. is my partner. I feel that we have a great team. I feel like we have a lot of support, and I feel like we have a shared mission to do right by folks that we serve.
I agree. Well, thank you so much, Luke.
Thank
it was
you.
a pleasure having
totally
you.
A pleasure. Thank you.
And Everyone stay tuned for our next podcast where we will be having our next guest, Eric Nyquist, who is a principal at our Regional Center for the Performing Arts and Open Choice Coordinator. But again, thank you so much, Luke. It was a joy and pleasure to be with you here today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Stacey. A lot of fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you.